Hi everybody, in our English today we are going to be looking at the use of modal verbs. Now we've touched on them when we were back in school, so for some of you it'll be a little bit of a refresher. For others we might be diving into more detail. So here is a quick video that you can watch that quickly explains what modal verbs are. And just as we can see, modal verbs are words that just change the meaning of verbs. So have a quick watch of the video. I'll give you the link in the comments so you can watch that and it'll quickly explain. But they can come in many forms. So we can have modal verbs that show ability, permission, advice, obligation, so whether you have to do something, and possibility. Now over here, can you see which one of these is possibility, advice, permission, obligation, and possibility? Pause the video, see if you can match them up. So we've got modal verbs can, could, may, should, must, have, to, might, may, could, can. You can see the examples which will make them clear. You'll notice some of them, like could, go in different categories, and can. So, well done if you got them. We've got ability, if you can do something. David can speak 3 languages. We've got permission, if you're allowed to do something. Can, could, may. Can I sit down? Could I sit down? May I borrow your dictionary? Advice, should you do something? Or you should do something. Obligation, must or have to. So when you're obliged to do something, you sort of almost are forced to do it. And possibility, if it's possible. Can, might, could, again. So you'll see lots of these are mixed up. They share categories. But it's the context in which they're being used that will tell you which type it is. So when we're looking at modal verbs in our writing, there are tons and tons of modal verbs. And we can roughly sort them into 2 categories. We can have positive modal verbs and we can have negatives. So for example, a positive would be, could you pass the salt? That's a positive. Couldn't you have got the salt yourself? Is more of a negative. It's almost like could not. You should have asked first is a positive. You shouldn't have done that is a negative. So it's important to think about, because teachers think about this quite a lot when we're speaking. It's much nicer to phrase things in a positive way than it is in a negative way. Have a look at these examples. Which modal verbs are being used? And can you underline them? Whoops. So, it is must or mustn't. So, let's have a look. Must. I'm quickly skimming through. Mustn't. There we go. I knew the 2 went in there. So, well done if you spotted those. There might be some more, but like there is another one there. But you can look through and you can go through them with a fine-tooth comb to make sure you get them. What I want you to do here is to fill in the missing modal verbs. Now you might want to look back at the previous slides to see some examples. And if you want an extra challenge, maybe you could write down which modal verb type they are. So pause the video, give it a go. Okay, so you've had a go. Let's have a look. We've got our modal verb types up here. So he swims really well. He must practice a lot. Well done. It was so dark, I couldn't see the path. He's brilliant. He can even juggle with his eyes closed. If she keeps practicing, she might just make the team. Is he just not sure? He is just not sure. He can't make his mind up. So well done if you got those. Now, what I want you to try and do is to turn these sentences into the negative modal verb version. So you will stay in at break. You won't go outside. Might be an example. You won't go outside at break. Turn it into its negative version, but still try and keep the same meaning. So for example, it wouldn't be you won't stay in at break because you're changing the meaning. It would be you won't go outside at break. You could catch a cold. You can go first. You may turn off the TV. You must be boiling the water. You should really be quieter. You might get lucky. You would believe it. So let's have a look. Oh, you couldn't catch a cold. There are your answers. So your task today. Create your own embellished sentences or a short story and see if you can use ignore that. It's not meant to be there. Right, fill in the missing modal verbs. We've got a sheet here. We've got some modal verbs here. Give them a go. Play the modal verb board game with a family member. Take some pictures of you playing it, or if you have no one at home to play it with, write the answers to some of the questions. Write your own modal verb sentences into the spaces under the signs and then explain which is the modal verb and which category it falls into. So, oops, there we go. We've got our modal verb board game. Give it a go. And finally, can we have some modal verb instructions underneath? So